Okay, today I have a Technics stereo cassette deck, RS3. Auto input select. Not sure what that's about. Auto tape select, it likes having auto written all over it. Rewind auto. Play auto stop. So that's at least 4 times on the front. What, no auto input level? That's a bit disappointing after all that. And cord chopped off, this was like a $5 special. But it's got line in, line out, voltage on 240 volts. I guess this is in maybe early 80s or something. And it's got this, oh, I know what that is. That's because I just saw an Akai like that. You flip that up and I think the amplifier sits on top of it and connects to it directly. I just saw an Akai system like that and I thought, oh, it doesn't look too bad. And then I realised that the amplifier plugged into the tape deck with a much bigger and uglier connector than this. And it was only kind of low end system, so I thought I'll give that one a miss. But it's got some sort of insert lock. And it's saying something on the back here. When using a direct connector, insert the pin, so it must be in that hole there, is it? In the hole, on the rear part of the upper plate and lock into place. So maybe, you would think the pin would lock in when you've got the thing on there. So it's something that says service use only, and way in there is there something? I think there's something. There's another hole. Where is there something? So I don't know what that is, but this looks kind of dodgy as far as getting into it is, as far as that goes, because it looks like only the bottom comes off. So this is kind of one of these mid-sized shelf systems. It's not an all-in-one, but it's only marginally better, I guess. Probably a slightly bigger system than like a Sony FH7 or something, which was a sort of component system. And so it would probably have some sort of Panasonic Technics type mechanism in this. Yeah, Elna on the board. That does the line in, line out. Playback gains, channel bias, right and left, and record gain, right channel line out, left channel line in, right channel line in. Oh, that's not one of those chips I just bought, is it? NE646 Dolby chips. Oh, that's not what I just paid for in that Akai, but it was something like that. I think there were a few different numbers on those. We should have a date on this, we do. Another Matsushita motor, 13th of December 82. So it is in the early 80s. The belt seems to be on there. I guess we need to hook it up and see what on earth it does. This was just sold as a sort of parts one, so there's something wrong with it. And I mean, it's an old tape deck, so there's bound to be something wrong with it. If it doesn't need at least belts, it'll be a miracle. So this is certainly not a high-end deck, it's more just a low-end, mid-sized shelf system kind of thing. Sure, it would have been a nice little system in the day though. But someone probably hung onto the amplifier if it was still working, and possibly the tuner, or maybe they sold that separately because it was actually still good. It's at least got, you know, analog meters on it, which is kind of surprising for even that era. Power on, well, we've got metal select coming up. Dolby in out. Now does it have yeah, it's auto tape select, so it's acting like the buttons. Oh, that's not the eject, that's the eject button. Acting like the switch is detecting something. Oh, if I press that, we go from chrome to metal. Maybe we've got to press that. Oh yeah, so because we don't have a tape in there, it doesn't know that it's a normal. So there's nothing for that. Let's try. Oh, do we need... We're not going to play without pressing something, I would think. So that lifts 2 switches up. Oh, if you just press one switch up, you get So it must need both lifted. So I'm not getting any action out of this so far. I don't think there's anything else we need to do. That's power on. It should have some tape functions, or does it need the door shut? And maybe a tape as well. That's one I don't care about too much. No. Usually at least get the motor going. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, that's the... Oh, let's fast forward. And rewind, both press a little switch there for some reason. Not sure what that does, but no action at all. Wow, look at this record switch thing. That's a big long one. So maybe we've got to see. I'm not really liking the look of this thing much. It's probably going to be a pain to work on. But at least I use red screws. I like that. Let's see if this board will come out of the way a bit. I bet it's attached to everything on the front panel, isn't it? Or is it? Oh yeah, the front panel might have to... Is that the front panel? Does the front panel come off? I don't think it might. We've got a chassis thing here. You must have... Oh, I reckon the whole bit comes out. That's what it'll be. Circuit board, and... I probably shouldn't have took all those screws out. You can probably get the whole chassis out with a circuit board attached. Hopefully. Come out, screw. God, that thing's stuck in there. It's loose, but here it comes. Got one more there, maybe. Or is there something else underneath? Of course, there is another one straight down here. Will that screwdriver reach it? I feel that. I'm going to have to look at it, aren't I? Oh, there's wires in the way. So this could be an interesting thing to look at once it's apart. I assume we get the whole sort of piece out with it. I mean, something's coming. Here we go. Haha, check this thing out. Now, do I need to open the door? No, the door comes with it probably. It is at the moment, so I'll go with that. Whoop, nearly busted the switch off. What else is holding it? It feels like there's some wires. No, that's it. Oh, look at that. We got one sort of chassis thing. And where did that last screw go? It's still hanging in there, I guess. Yeah, there it is. Well, there you go. That's a bit different. Can I... We can undo this wiring for the transformer and get some more length. Oh, come on. So, they care about you, which is good. As a technician, you're always like that. You don't run their brand down when they do stuff like that. Another L on the board there. Oh, if we press on the switch, the button, no wonder it won't shut. So I guess we can check, are we getting voltage to that motor? And I've got to be careful because all that live stuff is nasty. I don't want to be going near any of that or accidentally shorting it out or anything for unexpected explosions and stuff. Now, what do we want? Volts, DC. Oh, would help if we press something down, like play. Does play even do anything? Doesn't feel like it does much at all, to be honest. Ooh, we got volts. I wasn't expecting that. Surely, I was just saying before how these motors never fail in cassette players, and we might have one. Unless it's jammed, but normally you'd hear something from it. The belt would usually slip or something, especially in an old thing like this. Well, let's just power it up again. I just gave that a spin and I think it's going. It is. Ah, you're kidding me. Oh, the tape's actually playing. Well, all it took was a spin, so I don't know. Doesn't sound the greatest. That motor's now running. So do we have a dicky motor, or it didn't feel jammed, so I assume I've got the motor, maybe something with the brushes or something. I've got a couple of gears turning here as well. Who knows? I don't like things like that because you've got no idea what was actually faulty, but you can guarantee that if you were repairing it for someone and sent it back, it would play up as soon as I got it home and try to use it. Now amp back on. Ooh. Well, it's turning, but only just. Sounds like a steam train. Come on, steam train, get some speed up. Oh, that's not actually the capstan or anything. I thought I was flicking on the capstan, but ooh. Oh, that killed it. It did kill it. No! Come back, motor. Give it a spin, I think it's going again. Well, that's probably made the most interesting playback sound. And it's running, but I don't actually know what's on that tape, to be fair. I think that was an old answering machine tape or something. No, definitely not the tape. Oh, pause even killed it. I have to keep this for novelty purposes. I think if that motor was going flat out and working fine, it would actually slip the belt. So I think we've probably got a knackered motor. I don't know if I've got a spare one of those ones anywhere. But of course other motors will probably fit in the spot. Now how does the deck come out? I can see red screw, red screw, red screw, red screw, red screw. So that's 4 red screws by the look at it, and I assume it comes out through the front here. Might as well at least go that far with it. Don't think I even need to take the door off. I don't think taking the door off actually helps because I think the frame's as big as the door by the look of it. And we've got a couple of red screwed bits of metal brackets there. I don't know if they're going to stop it coming off, but from the look of it they probably are. But why would they have them there? That doesn't make much sense. Oh, I know what they are. When the door ejects, they stop it going any further. Yep. And it probably hinders us getting the deck out as well. That deck should be sort of loose now. Oh yeah. And they hinder us getting it out by the look of it. I think that door, yeah, that comes off. Just the usual slide up and off thing. I might even take that out of the way just to protect it. Well, in theory protect it. Who knows what will happen to it while it's sitting over there. But it's possible there's the capstan stiff or something, or the belt's sticky, I guess, or something weird like that, but I doubt it. Question is now, how do we've got a counter attached? The counter doesn't seem to clear very well. Something mechanical feels like it's holding on. I mean, obviously we've got all this wiring. I don't think we're even getting to the ends of that, or are we? Oh, here's something's coming loose slowly. I think you've got to jiggle that counter out a bit. Something's still catching. Wow, this thing's really weird to pull to bits. But yeah, I'm going to have to sort out the wiring any second now. So we've got that wiring there. These are very annoying little twist tie things, because you can't really grab them with your fingers. Probably meant to undo them with some pliers or something. What's this cable? Because that seems to have no length. Oh, there's more length. Oh, I see, it's attached here. Let's shut that amp up. I'm getting better at noticing humming sounds in the background. Oh yeah, these wires are very tight. In fact, they've got no play at all, so they can come out of here, I guess. Oh, we're going to have to undo a million of these twist tie things. That might at least allow us some action, because they're not really going to go any further anyway. I guess those might need some more freeing up. Here we go. Now does it come out? Oh, it does, sort of. Except they're caught in the end. So they've given us just enough wiring that I can push the board back and put it on the 240 volts there and electrocute myself. Let's get that earth terminal out of the way. A bit more wiring would have been nice though. You can, or even better, the ability to unplug it would have been perfect. But can we at least, I think we can just get the mech. Feels fine. That is a massive capstan. You can't knock that for being a nice big solid one. It's actually a pretty good mech. I mean, does this mech have anything to say what it is, where it came from, who made it? We've got a MX, Matsushita MX head. Don't know if that means anything to anyone, but it's got a big MX label on it. Does that come off? That should just pull out, I think. Yeah, it should. If you can jiggle it far enough. Oh, this thing seems to be stuck to the... Oh, what is going on there? Why does that move around like that? So this bracket should slide and come off. That bit's holding it on, so how do I get that out if I can't get the bracket off? Do we just force the bracket? Well, that's a bit of a weird design. Or is that thing stuck where it shouldn't be stuck? Oh yeah, you just gotta flick a screwdriver under it, so that was kind of sticking to the capstan a bit. It's got plenty of room around it, so it shouldn't, don't know. Bit of a weird, what is it? A weird spinning gadget, and the grease, if that's meant to be grease on top of it, is pretty chunky looking. That's going to have to be replaced, but again, it doesn't seem to... Belt seems to be actually pretty good. It shouldn't affect the mechanism's operation. Let's see what we can see here. But I think that motor's just going to run badly. Hopefully we can... What comes with this? All sorts of stuff by the look of it. Half the mechanism, in fact, including all the switching. I don't like the look of this much. Don't think I've ever worked. Oh, we've got a second belt there. We've got 3 belts in total by the look of it, but we've got one attached to the, I guess something to do with the idlers or whatever. Second little small belt. And we've got another one over to this white bit, so I'm not sure this thing is going to do a lot. And we'll pull that other belt off, we'll get all the belts out of there. Look at that, that's a monster. and it's got a big gear attached that's rotating, so this must be a kind of soft touch type of mech. Probably was quite a nice unit in its day. What's that? Oh, that's just that wire. Now, am I safe to plug this on? I'll plug this in, switch it on. The motor's flying along, man. Hang on. Is that capstan bit going with it, or is that still? No, it's moving, I think. Doesn't look like it. It's just one of those things that looks still. I mean, you can hear it's making a bit of noise, a lot of noise. Oh, there you go. Oh, we just changed tape type when I did that. And off it goes again. Stop. Must have bumped one of those. Oh, I've got my finger on one of those switches, that's why. I wonder why the LED changed at the exact moment that I stalled the motor. Oh, well, I don't think we've had a stalling motor yet, surprisingly. So I guess it's kind of good to see one in a way. Now let's just mark, often a good idea to mark the orientation of the motor, even though I won't be putting, whoops, this one back in hopefully. It'll help with putting the new one in, which could be a completely different type of motor. What is it? DC 12 volt 2L I think might be the direction. Oh, actually I'll check that. One thing I better check, so that's, yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely counterclockwise, isn't it? Whatever way you put it. So from the way, I think that's counterclockwise looking from that direction. That's a CCW. I'm pretty sure you look at them from the front, the pulley end. Soon find out, I guess. And you just got your plus and minus. 12 volts is the only other thing you need to know. And really the only other thing is, yeah, how's the mountings. This, I wonder if it's got quite a long shaft on it. It's got some weird black stuff around, but that might just be from the belts. Yeah, motors weren't that common. I had a great big pile of motors salvaged out of tape decks and barely used any of them in anything. Like obviously customer repairs, you just buy a new one from Wagner or somewhere, but in the second-hand stuff I fixed up over the years, it's very rare to use one that doesn't have any sort of free spin in it. It's possible you could lube it and maybe get it going again, but I'm never a fan of trying to get faulty motors running. Even if you get it going, it may well have some wow in it or something, so that's just like the thickness of the screwdriver. We should be able to just prise that off. It is quite a long shaft. I think most of the other types had the same mounting. Let's see if I can find one even. That's a Mitsumi. But that's 9 volt. But so that looks like the same pinout. It's another Mitsumi. There's an old, it doesn't look very good. That was in pretty rough condition. 12 volt counterclockwise. It's the right thing. God, look how rusted it is. Don't think I'll waste my time putting that one in, but that should be the same sort of pinout. It's got a fly lead on it instead of a connection there. Well, I think that TIAC one I had, I wonder what, because someone had replaced the motor and it had a really good motor in that TIAC I scrapped. And this is the remains of a boombox. This was a silver boombox. Just interested at the moment yeah, got heads and everything tied up here, but it looks like probably again the same, yeah, same mounting. I think they were all the same except for some of the really early like 70s ones. I think they smartly standardised it by this stage. Looks like an old scrapper TIAC. Has a counterclockwise, and it's even got a terminal block on it. It's the exact motor that I need, and this I know was a good motor. So that's the motor, much smaller of course, but it is a bit newer. Same pin out, everything. Same connection on the same side. Of course, camera stopped again, but I've got the pulley on there. Just slid that on to, this has actually got a lump on the front of this motor, so it's a bit higher, so I've gone quite close to the metal, whereas this one, I checked it before I took it off, it was sort of the thickness of the blade of the screwdriver sitting up. They usually have a little, but make sure there's some sort of clearance there. You want them roughly in line with where they should go. I should give that a clean in a minute. And I've just put both power connectors down, check the screw holes basically line up, put a mark on the new motor roughly where the old one was. I should have probably really marked where the power connector went, would have been the smart thing to do, but as long as it's A marked so I know roughly where the power connector points. I guess in this one you can see where the wires are, so that's good enough. So we really just need to go for the nearest holes, but not the holes there, the holes in these other little, where are we, there and there roughly, the holes that the actual screws went through, because putting screws in those other holes you can see there aren't going to hold anything. And rotate that round. And I guess if the motor did end up in a slightly different place, you could change the belt to a different length, but in this case the belts seem to be alright. I think I'll just put them back in. I don't know that this deck's actually any good for anything. It's more just good for a demo of how to fix something, and at least it had something a bit different wrong with this one. I'm just putting this back together. You got one little belt from a black pulley down there to the motor, to the larger one on the motor. You got the flat belt obviously around the capstan, and I've got this other flat little square belt goes around. I don't know if I can lean this over without undoing everything, because these are quite fun. But this big pulley, the big white one, to the end of the motor there's a small pulley. So now I've got to try and get all this back into place without having anything come off. And you've got all these lever things at the top here getting in your way, making it difficult. So it's not the easiest mech to work on this one. It just, everything catches. Are they still on? All the capstans, capstan's trying to escape. I think it has. Oh no, the whole capstan moved. So that's handy because there's no bracket on it. Ah, brilliant. I think we recovered it. That's on, the white pulley's on, a white belt onto the white pulley, and the other one seems to be on something. What did it go to? Anyway, I think I've got it. I'm going to put a couple of screws in that now. See, things are already popping off again. Yeah, mech's in place where it should be. Oh, I've got to put caps and bracket on before we can put one of the screws in, but I'll get that locked down. And I've already got the motor soldered on there. And that main gear running, so that must do something with the mech. And now I've got to try and get this bracket back on, which was hard to get off because we've got to get that middle bit over the mech there. Probably going to have to spring it over or something, because this just does not want to go on. You can't really lift it and move it far enough. Oh, that's nearly there. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, there's a bit of a knack to that. Don't think I've ever had a capstan bracket difficult to get on like that before. Usually they just fit on loosely and a piece of cake. So I guess we can give this thing a test. See if it plays a bit better than last time. That's just the mech resetting because it's a kind of soft touchy thing. Let's rewind, a little noisy. Fast forward. Does that play? Must be because things came up. Looks like it's running at a reasonable speed, but who knows. Got to sound better than it did before though. Which one was it? That one? And we've got no sound. Why? Yeah, so maybe we've got some muting or something happening. Just got some hum coming through. Why does touching the line out not? Something weird's going on. Don't know. Oh, maybe it's because it's muted. Yeah, I'd say it is muted because I'm not getting anything out of the amp at all on the sockets until I pull the RCA plug out. What's that switch do? No idea. Where's the front of it? That is Dolby noise reduction. We don't care about that. We've got a switch here somewhere that's not pressing or is pressed all the time. So that switch doesn't change. Oh, that's because the tape's in. That's the Dolby thing or whatever. That's another one. Oh, that's the tape in switch. Tape in, metal, chrome, whatever selection. There's another switch there somewhere. I'm guessing it's something like that. Can't even put my finger on the heads to make some noise. Don't think that earth wire matters, does it? It does. Record. Every time with the audio stuff. Yeah, we got no record. How do I eject this thing? Got some rubbish here where we've been recording. Let's see if it's actually mute. Yeah, I can hear something click maybe. Oh yeah, the record switch was on a great big lever somewhere, wasn't it? What did I do with that? I was worried about that. I think that was this one, wasn't it? Worried about it shorting something out. Oh, it's on a big lever there. Oh no, this is a different one. That's got the big lever with a plastic bit. Well, I don't think I care about that too much. The only other thing really, can I set the motor speed with it in there? I probably can. Surely they made it so you can do that. Because that motor's bound to be a bit off the correct speed, but it sounds like it's fairly close. Isn't that amazing? You gotta have the earths on all these things, which is just silly really, but that's the way they made them. Now, where did that wire go? I think it just came up and went onto that screw mount there. It must have been. And it works there, so that'll do. Comes through that particular hole, so I'd have to get this wiring back out of the way. Have to drag all the wiring back in as we go. I'm not going to bother with new belts in this, because I doubt this deck's really much good for anything. Could always fit them later, but they seem to be in good nick. Those belts are in very good condition. Almost like new they seem, but doesn't mean they're not getting a little bit stretched and potentially slipping, but like I say, without the rest of this system, this deck is pretty useless, to be honest. I don't think it's really worth any money, but you never know, someone might want one to go with the system, or to replace a broken one that's not working or whatever, rather than paying to get that fixed, as happens. It's got some nice VU meters on the front of it. It must have been one of the last sort of, they did go into the 80s a bit, I think, just as because they were cheaper originally than, well, I guess fluorescent displays were the main option. Then LED became an option, but LEDs became reasonably cheap, reasonably quick, I think. It's got to be better than trying to make these precision meter movements. But it is all just one big pair of meters there with a record light thrown in, so they're not like you could really even use them for anything else. And we've got these little brackets that stop the door opening too much. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one of these type of decks that I had to put the earth on to get it to unmute, but it goes to show it's a thing in audio. If things do strange things, make sure your earths are connected, because sometimes it's just through the chassis bits or whatever. It's ridiculous, really. But that's how they've done it. Sometimes you've got to earth like various sockets on the back together on some of these horrible hi-fi systems, all built in the one shelf system. There was some horrible Sony later ones and stuff that were just a real pain to work on for those sort of reasons. And yeah, those systems are really probably the worst of the audio you ever get. Now, one thing I didn't check is I didn't actually check the recorders in the right place, but we'll test that out. I'll do it on the other side. I can never remember where the buttons are on this thing. It's not exactly a standard sequence. Yeah, so that must be the record button. I just see it's gone into record light. I guess we can just rewind. I don't know which one's the stop button, do it? Let's just press play then, maybe. No, that is the stop. Yeah, it's erased it. So it's probably going to work. I just got to put a line input into it, and we'll check if my frequency counter wants to behave itself. We'll check the. Looks like it might be working today. I don't want CD. Scratchy level controls. Well, at least that comes through in the sound, and you know. Completely scratchiness. And like usual, the recording is rather underwhelming. Tape was never very good at that sort of thing, so we better give those controls, I don't really need to, but might as well give it a square a cleaner. So this deck basically works. Can I get into them is the next problem. I think we're going to have to take this knob assembly off so I can get into the front of the slider pots. Don't know quite what they've done here, but we'll soon find out, I guess. I think this thing just lifts off or something. Oh yeah, there you go. Very simple. Now I've got to line the knobs back up with those pots. I guess I could put them at one end, might be the smart thing to do. Although whether that end will go on, yeah, it seems to have. Oh, they're coming with it, so. But how do I get this bit back? That's it, I think. Seems to be working. And that's got a light under those meters. Was it lighting up? I can't actually remember. I had a feeling it wasn't, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Always nice when the meters light up. But sometimes it's just not something you even think about. Problem with not using sort of 70s technology anymore, you forget. No, I don't think it did light up. So I think we've got a blown globe there. I guess we should fix that as well. That would actually probably make a nice little display piece. But that fixed. Oh, that's eject over there, isn't it? Let's try one more bit of recording. nice and scratch free. Okay, so lamp, that's the next thing, isn't it? That has to be done as well. What have we got here? I guess I shouldn't have turned it off because I need to know the voltage. Where is it? It goes across. Oh, it's this blue and white wire. Oh, where do I go? Oh yeah, over here. Oh, into random spots in the power section. So I guess first thing I better do is find out what voltage that is. Probably a 12 volt. Well, the motor's 12 volts, so the lamp's bound to be a 12 volt, I guess. In too close, I have to move back out. Can't even see the multimeter in the camera. One there, and was it the dark blue? I think it was the dark blue over here. Yeah, 13.72 volts. Probably because it's got no load on it. There may be a resistor or something there. I think I can. Oh, it's a diode. It's got something over here. But anyway, 12 volts is what it is. So it'd be nice to see that lit up actually, because it's a bit antiquated now in a way, but it was a nice look. So I need to pull that probably out through the front. Let's see if I can do it without breaking the globe. Gotta be so careful, they just go pop all over the place with broken glass. It's in a grommet. So it's actually in the meters. Maybe I need to get the meters free. And the meters have a circuit board on the back. How do they come out? It's just a matter of jiggling them in the right spot, I think. There's a bunch of like what are they? Germanium diodes behind the meters there. That should, if I slide that out, it should be a lot easier. God, the grommet's just starts like I've got a plastic bit around it. That's what it was stuck to. I think I'll cut that at this end, because no doubt I'll be soldering on a lead lamp or something. Or a non-lead lamp, I guess it's more the case, isn't it? A bare wire lead lamp. This cable's insulation stretching a mile. There we go. Shut that amp up. Now what is that, about a 5mm, I guess? Quite a big one. Unless I've got a supply from Wagner's of these ones. I think the ones I got off eBay were pretty useless. So WT5125. And I need some heat shrink for that too. And it's a bit loose in there. The old one's probably a bit, well, that base is a bit bigger, I guess. Might have to wrap a bit of tape around it or something, I guess, to hold it in place. Need some ultra small heat shrink. Oh, it's that damn frequency counter making the noise, isn't it? Not the amp, I forgot about that thing being a pain. Oh, there goes half the video with hum all over it. But yeah, hard to stay focused on stuff like that when you're doing work. Tend to focus on what's in front of you, not what's going on around you. Well, I guess some people can't do that because they're easily annoyed by stuff going on around them, but I just tend to get in the zone and ignore everything else. That's one of the reasons all this mess on the bench doesn't really worry me, because I don't even really notice it while I'm working. I think I might have to put a bit of tape or something. I could put a bit of heat shrink on it, I guess is another possibility, just to fatten it up a bit. Nope. Yeah, probably a layer or two of heat shrink should just... It really needs to be towards the back of the globe, I guess. because the light has to come out the front. Yeah, it's a bit, maybe I'll shove it in afterwards. Let's get the thing attached first, and then we'll get excited about, did I tin the wires on this? I don't think I did. Then we'll worry about fitting it so it doesn't drop out of the grommet. So hard to see these little things, especially against just a random background. And trying to get them to come on straight. I can't hold the two things straight. That's got it, I think. Oh, it's a bit sticking out, of course. Anything to stop the heat shrink going on. Hopefully that's not hot still. Now, once you've got one in place, you've got something to hold on to. Still doesn't want to line up in parallel. Nice when they mounted them on a circuit board. They haven't got a circuit board there on those meters and didn't put the lamp on it, so that's a bit silly really, but I guess they had to put it in a different position. Don't know. Seems a bit silly not to mount it on the circuit board while you're at it. That should do that. That's going to come through this side. And we've got our grommet, which is just a bit too big. Maybe if I put a couple of layers of this large heat shrink down the back so it's just on the globe. That's really going to thicken it up much, but it's got to help. Oh, even that little one bit. Amazing. I think it just came loose though, didn't it? It's all holding together. So that slots into the meters. Try and get those leads so they're not, don't have any force against them. How does this go back in? That's it, just kind of slots in and to one side a bit and then falls in place. Ah, brilliant, we got light. That should look nice. I think, oh yeah, the other thing, yeah, that's why I had that noisy frequency counter on, is I've got to set the motor speed. So I need to hook into the line output, pinch one of them off the amp. I'll have to pinch both of them, I think, because will they reach to both? No. That's a bit silly because I should really have it, so I've got a separate RCA lead, I guess, so we can listen at the same time, so we know that the tape is working. Let's hope this thing doesn't decide to tune out. Doesn't do anything because I don't have the power on. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Put that earth thing on. After all that, I put the screw in and forgot to do it, even though it won't play anything without it. Now that's what you call typical. I had it there ready to go and forgot again. So it's easy to do things like that when you've got so many bits and pieces. Very easy to stuff things like that up, but as long as you realise you've stuffed up is the key in electronic repairs, because then you can quickly fix your stuff up. Turn the noisy old thing on. Hey, it's just over 1 kilohertz, 1060. Almost not worth tweaking, but we better get it right. And we should have a motor pot in there somewhere. Oop, that motor go fast. That's probably because I often shorten these things to the case, will make them That's going faster, I think. Am I actually turning the pipe? Oh yeah, we're going down. When we're not going up. 1024. 1015. It's only moving very incrementally. 10.9. 1 kilohertz and 9 hertz, which is sort of within range anyway, I think. But where's the challenge in not trying to perfect it to exactly 1 kilohertz? One double, keeps going back up to 110, 16, 13. Oh, it's gone back to 5, 2, 7. It's a bit random. It's saying 1001. I'm happy if it stays there. Now it's gone back to 1010. No, it's settling down. 10.7. Keeps going back to 1010 for some reason. Okay, well, I'll put this thing back together. Guess we should apply some power and have a look at it. Nice new light up dials on it. And it all seems to be running fine. But turn the amp back on. Some lovely love songs there. So that's basically all finished. And should be fine. Tape's playing at the right sort of speed. Does need a power cord on it. I guess that's something else I should have done while I was in there, but it's easy enough to take the bottom off and sort that out if I ever need to put one on there, which is fairly unlikely. Could do with the dust taken off the back there too. Interesting little deck. Quite a nice mechanism in it, I must say. It's a higher end sort of mechanism, which is kind of good to see in a plasticky unit, but it was still just the early 80s, so they're still putting some decent stuff in there. But at least that's all going. So thanks for watching.